Hi, thank you for watching my presentation today. This is in fulfillment of my statistics research at Texas Tech University, fall semester 2016. This is reframing teacher shortages as a function of job satisfaction and teacher preparation, an examination of the 2013 TALIS. A quick introduction to the issue we are talking about today. We are currently experiencing an alarming trend as schools are having teacher shortages, and both in the United States and globally. Particularly, I've heard several UK stories about this issue. In conjunction with these shortages, enrollments to university teacher preparation programs has decreased, particularly in large states such as Texas and California. The Teaching and Learning International Survey, or TALIS, offers us an insight into the different kinds of experiences teachers are having in schools today. It offers a large sample size that researchers can utilize in order to tease some information out of all this data and try to figure out why teaching as a profession is losing ground and why teachers leave instead of staying in the profession for a lifetime. So my problem statement would be that teaching is essential to the global economy. We need teachers to be producing students that are ready to either go into college or go into the trade and start producing and being participants in our global economy. We also know that student success and achievement has a reciprocal relationship to teacher motivation and self-efficacy. Also, job satisfaction is hard to nail down. It's a latent construct that is researchers attempt to measure from various more tangible measurements through training, professional development, work conditions, and things like that. So the purpose of this study is to explore all those factors related to teacher attrition, burnout, and recruitment, specifically examining characteristics provided in the TALIS data. The research questions would be, are there underlying factors explaining the characteristics of teachers that are satisfied in their current career? Does participation in certain teacher training programs correlate to this job satisfaction? And finally, does the participation in some kind of mentorship or first-year teacher induction program affect the level of job satisfaction and self-efficacy among teachers? So the theoretical frameworks for this study are actually an interplay of three: human capital theory, which looks at how individuals search for jobs very economically, sort of a cost-benefit analysis; teacher attrition theory, which knows that there is a cost-benefit analysis, but once teachers are in the actual job position, other characteristics come into play; and Bandura's self-efficacy theory. These all provide a logical framework, and as you can see in the graphic, we have teacher training, self-efficacy, and job satisfaction all holding that retention factor. Key findings from the literature. There is a lot of literature out there. It's a little overwhelming, but we do know that fewer students are choosing teaching as a profession. And there are a multitude of explanations for this. A study came out in 2015. Some of them related to the 2008 economy bust, others to the increased accountability ratings, but there really isn't a solid understanding of that phenomena. Other researchers know that practicing teachers have lower occupational commitment and higher levels of intention to quit than their less experienced counterparts. That suggests that once teachers get into the profession and are in it for 5 years or more, they're not wanting to stay. Grayson and Alvarez reported that if schools would increase the amount of instructional time and learning activities and reduce interruptions from administrative tasks, they saw teachers' self-efficacy and personal accomplishment positively increase with those changes. The teacher attrition theory was introduced by Kirby and Grismer, and it models how the teachers' personal lives and a change in school administration plays an important role in the decision for teachers to leave the profession. Okay, for this study, I used the TALIS data as a secondary data source to search for underlying constructs related to job satisfaction and professional regret. TALIS offers a large sample size with a variety of survey items to find those latent constructs. The goal is to guide future research into finding solutions for teacher shortages and teacher attrition. Participants, materials, and procedures are there. TALIS requires 34 countries and at least 200 schools. They're randomly drawn, and a principal with up to 22 teachers is asked to complete the survey. The TALIS data was downloaded in SPF file, and I used IBM SPSS version 23 for the analysis. The items were selected using a data screening process gleaned from the literature, and a total of 17 items made the final screening, and principal factor analysis with oblique rotation was the statistical test I ran using SPSS. The statistical results, the numbers are there for you on the slide. I will tell you that the markers were adequate for analysis, and that the rotated factor loadings that were analyzed had a 0.4 or greater correlation, and that the items that were clustered suggested that underlying constructs included motivation, self-efficacy, empowerment, occupational stress, peer relations were all representative of the data. There are limitations to this study. The data is interval or ordinal rather than continuous, which is ideal for factor analysis. Also, there is potential for multicollinearity between the variables because they're very similar. Also, the implications would be it does support future research because several items did cluster under the same factors, and that schools should examine ways to reduce stress and increase personal accomplishments, peer relations, and self-efficacy among teachers. The conclusion of this study is that teaching is a multifaceted, complex profession, and research regarding teacher attrition and retention should attempt to tease apart those complexities so that we can build policies and teacher education programs that more accurately reflect the needs of our current education system. This study supports previous research done on this topic, and we'd like to guide future studies as we examine ways to make teaching a more palatable career for those students entering four-year universities. Thank you. References are on the next slide.